Hey, it's John Register here. Welcome back to the Amputate to Elevate video think letter. Today's for the leaders standing on the edge of something greater but hesitating. You've built the resume, you've held the titles, but now the next level requires something deeper, maybe even scarier, the courage to let go of what no longer belongs. This edition is rooted in 3 transformational insights from my conversation with award-winning speaker and goal-setting expert, Samantha Kris. And if you've ever felt stuck, not because you're failing, but because you're afraid of what success might demand of you, this one's going to speak to your soul. Here's what we're diving into today. Number 1, amputating the fear of success. Why some of us are more afraid of rising than falling, and what it costs when we play it small. Number 2, setting goals that actually matter. How Samantha's real goal framework can help you stop performing success and start living it. And number 3, the power of revision. What it means to step into the unknown before the plan is perfect, and how to keep moving when certainty isn't coming. These aren't just talking points. These are checkpoints for high-stakes leaders, people like you who are no longer satisfied with momentum that doesn't align with mission. You'll hear clips from Samantha's personal stories, from me, and some tough questions to reflect on, because here's what I do know. Elevation doesn't begin when you add more. It begins when you're willing to amputate what's holding you back. So let's get into it. Number 1, afraid of the climb. At about the 8:17 mark of my conversation with Samantha Kris, she said something that caught me a bit off guard. Not because it was loud, but because it was true. I had to amputate my fear of success, she said, not failure, success. Let's take a listen in on what Samantha said.
So, Samantha, what's one thing that you had to amputate in order to elevate your success?
I have been thinking about this since I met you, John. This talk of yours was so powerful, and it left such a lasting impression on me in understanding really what can I let go of. I think I've gone through this exercise a lot, and it took hearing you and your story to realize, although I've identified certain things to let go of, I've not truly let them go. So I think I did half the work. And so since I've met you, it's really been seeking to understand not only what can I drop, but what will be most impactful to help propel me forward. And what has rung true for me is the fear of success. And I think we talk about the fear of failure quite a bit as something that holds us back. But the fear of success is a sneaky one. And recognizing that I actually have a lot of confidence and belief in my own ability, but the fear that comes with stepping into that and the decisions that will be required and the compromises that will need to be made once that call, once I flip the switch.
That's not the answer most people expect, but it's the one of the most honest ones I've ever heard. Samantha admitted that what held her back wasn't a lack of ability, it was only the weight of what might happen if things actually worked out, if she became visible, if she became known, if she actually got the opportunities she'd been praying for. Have you ever felt like that? Or if you're feeling it right now? Maybe it's not in the job that you're in because you're so comfortable with it, but maybe it's in the transition that you know that you need to make. I know I've been there because I've been in the rooms where I'm trying to figure out why I'm even in the room. But then I realize the reason I'm in the room is because I'm supposed to be in that room. It's not arrogance. It's just honoring your ability to show up. When you're not afraid to fail, but you're afraid of what success might demand of you, the pressure, the visibility, the responsibility of not shrinking anymore. I remember that moment in my own journey, standing on the edge of a new opportunity, wondering if I was about to rise or unravel. Remember, fear and success are 2 stories from the opposite side of the coin, yet the coin hasn't even been tossed into the air. So why are you determining a future of failure rather than a future of success? What Samantha reminds us of is that fear of success is often fear of what comes next, the higher standard, the higher stakes, the higher self you have to become to sustain it. Fear of success doesn't mean you're not ready. It means you care. It means the elevation is real. But here's the truth. You can't rise while playing it small. You can't elevate while tiptoeing around your own potential. Poet Marion Williamson said it best, I think, that our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. So here's what I'm sitting with this week. What part of success am I secretly afraid of? And is that fear trying to protect me or hold me back? So let's name it. Let's amputate it. Number 2, goals aren't always growth, based on Samantha Kris's real goal methodology trademark. Most executive goals that I've seen in the boardroom have one thing in common. They're impressive, but not always impactful. Revenue expansion, acquisition retention, they look great in the quarterly report, but do they leave a legacy? When Samantha created her real goal methodology, she did something rare. She gave high achievers permission to stop performing success and start living it. So listen in on Samantha's conversation.
When leaders are facing high stakes transitions and they're going through moments, whether either themselves personally or with their teams, how do we use stories like this, or you extract stories to help them extract stories like this to help them see their value, their worth, and what their gifting is to the organization?
That's something I think most leaders that I work with struggle to identify is, A, I don't have a story to tell. B, I don't know what story to tell, or I know what story I want to share, but I don't know how to make it impactful. And I think a large part of it comes down to confidence. And I don't mean that in the traditional sense of speaking where we've got breathing techniques or a power pose or stage presence confidence, but more so in the value that they are uniquely positioned to impart on their audience. And I think some of that work starts with understanding our core values, in knowing the impact we want to have in the world at large, and then narrowing our scope to the impact that we can make in the time slot we're given, whether that's a 60-minute all hands meeting, 20-minute keynote speech, or a podcast such as this. Understanding that we are being, talk about gifts, our attention and our time is, I think, the greatest gift people can give us, and it is our non-renewable resource.
Mm-hmm.
And the time that they're spending listening to you or listening to me, I'll speak for myself, is not something that I take lightly. So when I work with leaders and helping them understand this story, it's about first and foremost tapping into a level of confidence that you've got a story to share. And some of these stories are what are seemingly insignificant moments of our days, but we don't really take the time to reflect on the impact that we know that they've had on us, but how we can then transfer that value, that impact to others. I think that's part of the secret sauce that I bring, is helping people recognize those pivotal moments where they had either, a light bulb go on in their mind, or there was a fork in the road or a decision that they had to make, which ultimately formed or contributed to who they are today. And then recognizing, how do we help people who may never walk your path to benefit from the insight that you gained in this moment? And it comes with, this is where I say, well, I really like to start with confidence, is we don't necessarily take stock of how these moments have really shaped us, how our core values were in fact the driver of those decisions or choices, and how when we are very intentional about communicating that value through stories, we can really inspire people to think, act, or feel differently.
Realistic, elevating, aligned, linked to purpose. What struck me is that she didn't say not aggressive, not dominating, not stretch until you break. Samantha told me she once had to amputate a goal that sounded good, but didn't feel right. It no longer matched the person she was becoming. That's a grown leader move, because sometimes we don't need bigger goals. We need bigger ones. Goals that bring us home to ourselves, not just closer to a milestone. So here's my question for you. Is your current goal a reflection of your values or just a reaction to your environment? When your values are tested, It's when someone goes to get your values and you are caught in the crosshairs of having to do the right thing. The question becomes, are they even crosshairs at all, or do you just take action? It's always easy to say, it's harder to do. Do you remember the first time that you had to adhere to the company values and not your personal emotions? Number 3, reckoning isn't failure. It's the first step based on RE3 model reflection that I have that I shared with her. When I asked Samantha where she saw herself in the reckoning, the revision, and the renewal journey, she didn't hesitate. That moment when you stop waiting for normal to return and start designing something truer. Let's listen into what she has.
And you kind of heard me say and pontificate on my 3R model, my resilience model: reckoning, revision, renewal. And when you think about where you are right now, it could be anywhere in life. It doesn't have to be in storytelling or helping business. It could be personal, professional. In the reckoning, we realize that life won't go back to the way it used to be. In the revision, we're daring to cast a new vision. We've got to make a commitment to that vision. So we're kind of in that incubator space. And the renewal, we're embracing the possibility of what is coming next, and giving ourselves space and grace to grow because we would have made a commitment by that time. Where do you see yourself in that model?
The renewal.
The renewal. Very good. Okay. That was quick. That was done. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a powerful speech for me, to be as an audience member of yours, and a great deal of reflection went into that question when you asked the audience. And then we had the group discussion, and we got to really play with it and rethink our answer. If there was, a change, then we had the ability to kind of say, you know what, upon further reflection or talking it through, in fact, I may be in a different stage, and it was the renewal all the way. And I've just been more in the renewal since Unite. And it's a scary place, John, because the reckoning is right around the corner.
That's right.
It's a scary place.
It's a scary place. It can be scary, but it's also a beautiful spot.
You're right. You're right. And I think that's been the biggest eye opener for me. In leaning into this fear of success. I have given too much weight to the scariness of the renewal and not enough to it gets to be beautiful.
I know this space well. The first time I stepped back onto the track after losing my leg, I wasn't chasing a medal. I was trying to prove to myself that I still belonged in the arena. My coach was with me in Dallas, Texas at the United States Track and Field annual meeting, and we were all working out on the track. And a lot of my former competitors, when I had 2 legs, they were watching me as I was taking my first steps learning how to rerun, this time on an artificial leg. Later, at the Olympic trials in 2000, I had orchestrated a race above the knee amputees for 100 meters. I don't even run the 100 meters. And as I lined up with my good leg went to jelly because the same individuals were not watching me to see what I would do when I returned to the track. When I won the race, I heard an explosion of cheers. But the best moment in my life, track and field, was when the 400-meter hurdles for the Olympic trials went off in the Atlanta Stadium. I was on the second tier of the stadium, and those that have not made the finals were up there in the stands. And as I was walking the top tier, they called me over to sit with them to watch the finals. It's not about being fearless. It's about taking the next step before you have every answer. Samantha reminded me, the leaders who rise in uncertain times aren't the ones who wait for clarity. They move with conviction. They revise in motion. So here's my reflection for us this week. Are you stuck in the reckoning, waiting for the return of certainty? Or are you ready to revise, even if the vision feels risky? So what hit hard for you? Was it the fear of being seen once success finds you? Was it the pressure to chase goals that don't reflect your values anymore? Or maybe it was the quiet challenge to rise before you fully feel ready. Here's what I want you to do with this. Don't just be inspired, be intentional. Pick one of these insights and act on it this week. Not later, not after the next meeting, this week. And if you want support, real strategic guidance around your leadership identity, your next move, or your ability to navigate a high stakes season, I'd love to invite you to our next Elevate Life strategic session happening, I think it's on May the 28th. We'll figure that one out. It's where leaders like you gather each month to ask the hard questions, share real challenges, and get coaching that moves the needle. The link's going to be here pretty soon, so lock in your seat because the next level of your leadership is calling, and it's not waiting. Go forth, inspire your world. Bye for now.